Hi everyone, hope you're all doing all right. It's good to see you. I have been away for a couple of weeks from recording. We got to the end of the series of adoptee stories. We may do it again at some point in the future. I think it's really brave of people to have written their story and sent it in, and for that to have been read out on a channel, albeit a small channel, but a channel, and put it out there. I think it's incredibly brave of someone to reveal their thoughts and feelings in that way. So I'm really grateful to all of those who contributed to that series of adoptee stories. I'm also really grateful for the support and the kind words and thoughts that have been both left under the videos in terms of the comments, but also the ones emails that I've received from people directly. Today's video is a slight departure from the norm. My normal videos are I usually talk about the research findings and kind of raise awareness to the struggles of adoptees and talk about how we should try and implement different types of approaches to communication and parenting in order to achieve well-being in adults who are adopted. I've had quite a lot of encouragement from certain people, more than one, multiple people, to kind of disclose and say a little bit about myself and my own feelings as an adoptee. This really does kind of go against my normal way for two reasons. One, that I'm incredibly private as a person, always have been, and two, that I'm trained as a therapist and we don't disclose. We're trained not to disclose. In fact, I think one of the rules about disclosing about yourself is, you don't do it unless there's a very clear reason to do it and it's going to help the therapeutic process. But disclosing about oneself is really not something that therapists do very much. It's all about boundaries, isn't it, really, in the therapeutic environment? Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to do it, and I hope I can get through this, because it's hard enough reading about other people, but I'm going to try and get through this. It's a piece that I wrote in 2019, so in October of this year it will have been 5 years since I wrote this. I've always loved writing. I talk about the benefits of journaling a lot. It's one of the things that I talk to my clients about, but it's something that I've always done myself. I have a very big pile of diaries and journals, and I always found relief from my darkest thoughts in my diaries and in writing itself. So I still have a really healthy interest in writing. I love writing and I love the English language. I love language generally. So here we go. And as I say, I'm just going to get on with it and try and get through it. So thank you for bearing with me. This piece that I wrote is entitled, I Am Your Daughter. Monday, 28th of October, 2019. Hi Lara, this is Andy from Find a Monkey. I'm ringing to tell you that the DNA match is a very close match. This man is probably your father or your uncle. I'm taking the call between clients in one of the 15-minute intervals between being their rock, their therapist, for an hour at a time. The room is their safe space, painted in soft greys with a high, unthreatening ceiling. I move slowly towards the sash window and look out onto Market Street, the prettiest street in Pool's Old Town, I think. I look towards the Guildhall, formerly the old market house, which originally housed market stalls. I've often imagined the cacophony of the 19th century traders eagerly selling their wares. But now, in 2019, couples seal their promise of eternal love, and families and friends toss confetti towards the optimistic newlyweds standing on the concrete steps that descend in gentle curves on either side of the Georgian building to the street below. Therapy saved me. I was 21 and married to someone I didn't love and who certainly couldn't love me. This time in my life was just one of many examples of my destructive patterns, of seeking love and approval in all the most damaging ways. I had found myself fantasizing all too often about ending it all. Surely that would be easier. In desperation, I visited my GP, and there in that small consulting room, I found I couldn't explain a thing, but the wrecking sobs came so hard and fast that I failed to contain them. He referred me, at what might have been the most carefree period of my young life, to my first counsellor. And so began my long journey into therapy, self-help, and ultimately psychology and psychotherapy. I take the call in that quarter of an hour that I used to empty my head and shake off the emotions of the last session. I should have let my phone keep ringing, but I knew this call might answer one of my most enduring questions. My throat dries up and I feel my heart bruising the inside of my chest. My father? Sending my DNA to be processed, using Find a Monkey search agency to locate my biological father, had been a final attempt. Since the age of 16, with no solid leads, no surname and no address, I'd failed time after time to find out who he was. I made the decision so that I could tell myself I had tried everything possible. I had known I would search for the people who made me ever since I'd been able to understand in grown-up terms that I was adopted. As a child, teenager, young adult, I had felt outside somehow, weird and disconnected from the world around me. What happens now, I ask. Already, I begin to imagine meeting the man I know of only as Jerry. I'm 49 years old and I feel as excited as when I got my first wellies when I was about 6. They were red as a ripe tomato and I refused to take them off. I insisted on wearing them all night long at my nan's house. I must have been a real sight in my nightdress and wellies, tiny in the vast spare room double bed, which was always adorned with a 1970s purple satin eiderdown. We will write to both brothers now. We will explain that a blood relative of theirs is searching, and we will invite them both to make contact with us. As they're reading my thoughts, he continues, "Don't worry, we are trained in this sort of thing. We will get back to you as soon as we know anything." I sense that the next few days will feel interminable. The nerves about whether he'll want to know me have already set in. He doesn't even know I exist. The letter will most likely be the biggest shock of his life. Thursday, 7th November 2019. Hi, this is Michelle from Find a Monkey. How are you? I detect something in her voice. Sympathy? My stomach flips. Why isn't Andy calling? I inhale deeply. I'm okay, I think, I offer. Okay, good. I have something to tell you, Lara. Are you sitting down? Sitting down? Yes, I say, staring at the grey carpet. Okay, we've had a call today from a firm of solicitors. Big questions and wild scenarios start to form. The solicitors are acting on behalf of your father, Gerald. Okay, I manage. They are executors for his will. Gerald passed away on May 28th this year. I'm so sorry, Lara. I'm no longer in the conversation. I'm whipped away. 33 agonising years. I have been searching for 33 years, only to have missed him by 5 pitiful months. I recall discovering a new lead not so many years before. I thought I was really onto something, but it led to nothing, as had all the previous attempts. And oh, how I longed to look him in the eye and say, I am your daughter. Okay, thank you for the call, Michelle. I have to go now. Okay, I'm sorry, Lara. A ball forms in my throat. I will be okay, thank you. I end the call and I sit to gather my thoughts and feelings. I fight the nausea. But I remind myself that I now know who he is. That was my main goal, wasn't it? To know his name and to see what he looked like, to try and pick out similarities between us. So I tell myself sternly, this was a success. I can hardly believe what I hear myself say out loud alone in that room. I know who my father is. I sit in my chair and I look at the silver clock, 5 minutes until my next client. I breathe deeply for a while. I need to be present for the next hour, So I stand up and shake off the emotion, physically brushing it off my body with my hands, a technique I learned in therapy training. The doorbell sounds, so I rise and I move slowly to the door. I inhale so deeply it forces my back to straighten. "Hi, Susan." I smile widely as her expression nudges me back to right now. I put aside thoughts of Jerry. "How has your week been?" I ask. I can hardly believe it's almost 5 years since I wrote that piece. Yeah, it feels very odd to read it out, but important maybe. Maybe it's important to do that as well. Really unusual for me to talk about myself in those terms. It was okay. Managed it, got through it. It's not something that I'm used to, but obviously my own story and my own feelings were absolutely the driving force behind my training in psychology and psychotherapy, and in working with people, and of course in trying to raise awareness about the struggles and the plight of adopted people, and to looking at why we feel this way and what might be done in order to improve the experiences and the lives of adopted people. So of course my story features in my life decisions and choices. And yeah, as I mentioned at the start, writing has always been part of my life. I've got loads of writing pieces that I wrote from different revelations and experiences and feelings. I've got so much of it. So, maybe I'll just read bits and bobs here and there. Anyway, thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you guys are up to. And I'll see you again on here soon. All right, bye.